Wonderful. We're done styling our landing page, but as you can see, if we're going to go down this road and essentially style all our components and pages, effectively, this is going to be a CSS project, not a React one. So instead, let me show you where you'll find all the prepared styles. Now, the first thing that I want to mention is the simple fact that if we take a look at our file, you can see that this is a variable, correct? The wrapper one. So nothing stops us from moving this variable into a separate file. Before we do that, though, let me just mention one more time that my actual preference when I'm building the project is to keep it here. It's just since I wanted to prepare all the styles for you and I didn't want to do copy pasting for every component, that's why I set it up in a different folder. But normally this is what I do. I set up the component, I right away add the styles, because that way, if I ever need to change something, I can change both the logic and the CSS. So first, let's just move this wrapper into a different file. Then let's import it and let's see whether anything breaks. And I want to do that in a very specific place. I want you to go to Assets folder and then more specifically look for the wrappers directory. And in there, let's just create a testing file. Let's just say testing.js. Then let's go back to landing. Let's take this entire thing. So I'm talking about the wrapper. Please don't remove the export default landing. So let me cut this one out, copy and paste. And we also want to import the style one. Now we won't need it anymore in the landing, but we definitely need in the testing. And then I want to export the wrapper. So all the way in the bottom, I'm just going to go with export default and wrapper. And after that, let's go to landing and let's just import this one. And let's see whether anything breaks. So I'm going to go here with wrapper and more specifically, I'm looking for the testing one. And as you can see, everything still works. Now the difference right now, of course, is the fact that all our CSS code is here in the testing one. And if you take a look at the rest of the files, you'll notice the same thing, where basically I set up the CSS and I'm just exporting. So for every component, there's going to be a style component where you'll find styles. So if we take a look at the landing page, you'll actually see all the styles that we typed out in the last video. And just to showcase that, let me go back to the landing.js and let's change the import. Instead of wrappers, I'm going to go with landing page. And again, you'll notice that everything is still going to work. And the naming is really up to you. The reason why I call this wrappers, because that clearly signals to me that these are just styled components. But if you want, you can name the folder differently. You can also name the files differently. That is really up to you. This was just my approach. I set up the wrappers folder. I set up these styled components. And then every time we'll create a component, there's going to be a corresponding styled component, which we are going to import and we'll wrap our return. But let me stress something really important. This wrapper is only responsible for styling. Again, there is no logic involved. It's just styles. So every time we'll set up the component, we'll import the wrapper. We right away get all the styles and we'll apply it by just setting up the wrapper as our main return. So whatever we are returning from the component and then the rest of the logic we'll place inside.